Hey, everyone. I know you guys with the microphone. Using the microphone because we have people online joining us. So I'm just going to start by welcoming all of you guys. Good morning. Sawadee Kap. Yeah, I know you can't hear me with the microphone. The people online can hear me, though. You guys can hear me just here. So I'm just using the microphone for the people online. But I'd like to just welcome all of the grand reopening of our learning. Many of you might be here for meditation, and that's what we're going to do as well. But because we're opening our learning center, what we're going to do is we're going to have a ribbon cutting celebration where some people can cut this ribbon. We can go inside the golf, all the renovations that we've done, and then we'll come into the classroom and I'll guide you guys into meditation, and then we're going to have a class today where I actually teach you, because one of the best ways to celebrate the new center is to actually do some meditation and some teaching. Guys, and invite anybody who would like to maybe come. Alberto. I always think of you as Carlos. Alberto and Rachel, if you guys are there, and then you guys are welcome to come on in afterwards. You guys can do together. Yeah, kind of like a married couple. All right, you ready? 1, 2, 3. We're open. Yay. So come on in. Come on in. See what we've been hard at work doing. You already had a look around, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, have a look around. You can have a look around. See what we've done to the place. Right. Come on in, everyone. Welcome. This is everyone's new learning center. Come on in. Have a look around.
It was great.
Yeah, did you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Good, good, good. For some of you guys don't have a frame of reference, but we're going to show some pictures here in a little while. But feel free to look around. You can see the bathrooms and the storage room and the office. And then whenever you're ready, we have meditation cushions. You guys can come and make yourself comfortable. There's chairs and everything like that. Feel free to sit down and have a seat. You think so? Yeah, come on in. Welcome. Everything's nice and fresh. Some new meditation cushions, fresh paint smell, new car smell, right? Yeah, the walls are always premium space, right? Welcome to you guys. It's wonderful to see so many people here because the team that has been working on this has been here for about a good 4 to 6 weeks, revitalizing and refurbishing our space. And you guys are going to see some before and after pictures because some of you guys don't have a frame of reference of what this place looked like prior. But for those of you guys that do have that frame of reference, you can see there's been a massive transformation here. So what I'm going to do is once again, just welcome all of you guys. Welcome to our temple here. Welcome to Wat Tung Yu. Welcome to our class today. Nice to see all of you guys. We're going to start with some meditation, and then afterwards we're going to move into a talk, and I'm going to share with you guys some information about temple construction and maintenance and why it's so important for us to be involved in this kind of activity. So welcome to all of you guys here. Welcome to everyone who's joining us online as well. If you'd like to join for meditation, the way that we start is we start with some chanting. If you'd like to chant along, we have chanting sheets on the table over there. You can see the laminated sheets. You can pass them around if you like. There's the Pali language on there where we're actually chanting the chants. During the lifetime of the Buddha, they used chanting as a way to commit the teachings to memory. They actually didn't use chanting for any kind of rites or rituals or ceremonies or worship or prayer. That's not what these chants are all about. They're nothing mystical or magical or anything like that. Today, we use chanting as a way to ease our mind into meditation and actually get more benefit out of the meditation itself. But during the lifetime of the Buddha, they used chanting as a way to commit the teachings to memory because everything that he taught was oral, that he spoke orally, and then every 2 weeks they came together to recite his teachings in order to commit them to their memory. And this is the way that they would actually practice the teachings, because the teachings of the Buddha are to guide you to this enlightened mental state where the mind is peaceful, calm, serene, and content with joy, where you no longer experience any discontent feelings. You're not experiencing any anger or sadness, frustration, irritation, annoyance, guilt, shame, fear, stress, anxiety, loneliness, boredom, shyness, resentment, jealousy. All these feelings and others are completely eliminated from the enlightened mind. And this is accomplished through training of the mind. So students needed to learn his teachings and commit them to memory in order to be able to practice them and train their mind. So that's why they used chanting during his lifetime as a way to commit the teachings to memory. But today we just use the chanting as a way to ease the mind into meditation. So it's important to know there's nothing mystical or magical. It's not a rite or ritual or a ceremony or worship or anything like that. In fact, I don't think the Buddha even created these chants himself, because if you read the chants, you're going to see in the English translation, there's a lot of respect and gratitude and admiration for the Buddha. And because of that, I know that the Buddha didn't create these, because a Buddha would have eliminated their arrogance, their ego, putting themselves above other people. But if you learn from a teacher of how to move from the anger and the sadness and the frustration and all those other discontent feelings to the peace and joy that is the enlightened mind, and this teacher didn't want anything from you, they didn't expect anything from you, you would probably have a lot of respect and gratitude for that person too. So I suspect his students created these chants either during his life or after his death as a way to honor and respect him for the work that he did to share the teachings to help them get to this enlightened mental state. So after the chanting, then we're going to go into meditation, where I'll guide you guys in a meditation session. You'll hear me kind of speaking as we're meditating together. But then there's going to be a long period of time where it's just quiet. We're just all meditating together. In the past, you might have heard a barking dog or a car going past or something like that, but you're probably not going to hear much of that anymore because we closed the place in with windows and, we've got a much quieter space here. But you may hear a sound here or there, someone coughing or sneezing. And when you hear sounds, these sounds are all impermanent. You can't be in an environment where it's permanently quiet. So as long as your mind doesn't have a craving for permanence, when you hear that sound, you won't be annoyed or frustrated. So just know that the quietness is impermanent. It's not permanent. But also whatever sound you hear, that's not permanent either. So you can just remain focused on the breath and training the mind to be focused on the breath. And then after that period of time where it's just quiet and we're all meditating here at the temple, and those of you joining us online, then we're going to come out of the meditation with some more chanting. And then that's where I'll start today's class and helping you guys to learn more about temples and what temples are and why temple construction and maintenance is so important. So if you'd like to join along, you might take a position either seated, lying. There's also a standing position. There's even a walking position. These are the 4 positions that the Buddha taught. seated, lying, standing, and walking. And oftentimes people are learning in the seated position. So I'll give you guys a little bit of guidance on the seated position. You usually have some cushions under your rear if you're on the floor. This will kind of soften your seat and make it more comfortable for you. And then you'd like to just kind of lightly cross your legs. By having your legs lightly crossed, it helps the circulation to flow. Whereas if they were real tight, it would impede the circulation and it could cause pain in the lower body. So you're not interested in that. And then your hands and arms, the Buddha put his right hand over his left with his thumbs together, and he put this into his lap. So if this is comfortable for you, you could do that. But it's not about everybody doing it exactly the same way. It's not possible for everyone to be in exactly the same position. So there's other options here. Some people with their legs crossed, they like to put them off the mat because this gets the hips up in the air and it lessens the angle at the hips, the knees, and the ankles and allows the circulation to flow. And then the hands and the arms, you could put right hand over left, but some people like to just put their palms on their thighs or on their knees or their palms up. Some people like to rest their hands comfortably in their lap. So you could really sit however you're comfortable. There's not just one way for everybody to sit. You can sit whatever way is comfortable for you. And then with the upper body, it's nice if that's erect. With the sternum up and the shoulders back, it helps to keep the mind attentive and alert during the meditation. Whereas if you were slouched, the mind would have a tendency to be dull or lethargic. But if you're real rigid, the mind could be overactive or uptight. So you'd like the mind to be attentive and alert during the meditation. And the way to do that is have the sternum up and the shoulders back. And it also helps you to breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. And it's all the same thing for those of you guys that are in chairs, or if maybe you're at home, you're on a sofa or a bench or in a wheelchair or something like this. You can just sit with your feet flat on the floor or maybe lightly crossed with the ankles. But you can see me, I'm in a chair here with my legs crossed. So you could easily sit that way as well. And then the same thing with the hands and the arms, just putting those wherever you're comfortable. And then the upper body can be erect as well. So again, I'm going to start off with some chanting, which you guys are welcome to join in on. And then we'll come back in with the guidance for the meditation. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Bhutang Bhagavanhang Apivateyami Savakato Bhagavata Tammo Dhammang Namasami Supatipano Bhagavato Sāvaka Saṅkho Saṅghang Namami Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Iti piso Bhagava Arahang Samma Sambuddho Vicacaranang Sammuno Sakato Rokavitu Anutero Purisa Dhamma Sati Satatavap Manusanang โหโตภาควาติ Okay, with the lower body and hands and arms comfortable, and the upper body erect, just close the eyes and start breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Here you're just looking to establish the breath. A nice, natural, steady, consistent breath. Not forced or controlled. Just a gradual inhale through the nose, experiencing the full breath. And then whenever you're ready, exhale out through the nose. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. Your breath may not match up with the guidance that I'm providing, and that's okay. This is your practice. I'm just here for guidance. You can use this voice as a reminder that whenever you get to the next inhale, breathe in naturally through the nose, developing a nice, natural, steady, consistent breath. And then whenever you're ready, exhale out through the nose. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. With the breath well established, start fixating the mind on the breath, either the sound of the breath coming into the nose or the sensation of air moving over the skin into the nose. The breath is the present moment. Fixate the mind on the breath, the present moment. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. With the mind fixated on the breath, whenever you notice that it moves off the breath, cut that off, let it go, and come back to the breath, the present moment. No need to observe the thought, label it, judge it, analyze it, or even try to figure out where it's coming from. Whenever you notice that the mind is moved off the breath, cut that off, let it go, and come back to the breath, the present moment. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. I'm going to be quiet now and let you do this work of focusing on the breath, cutting off and letting go anytime the mind moves off the breath. You have nowhere to go. There's nothing to do. No one needs you right now. This is your time to focus on the breath. Breathing in and out. อะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธมหะวาโพตังมหะวันหังอภิวาเตมิสวากขาโตมหะวตาธัมโมธัมมังนามัสสามิสุปฏิปันโนมหะวะโตสาวกสังโฆสังฆังนามามินะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะอิติปิโสภะคะวะอะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธวิชาจารณังสัมมุโนสัคขะโตโรกาวิตุอนุเตโรปุริสาดัมมาสติสัตตาตาวามนุสนังโพโตภาควาติ Okay, if you guys would like to slowly make your way out of meditation. Once again, welcome to everyone. Nice to see all of you guys here this morning. Welcome to Wat Tung Yu. Welcome to those of you guys joining us online as well. For those of you guys that it's your first time here at the temple, I'll just share a few things with you to help you feel even more comfortable here. We have 2 working bathrooms in the back of the room. There's actually 2 bathrooms. The very last doors on the right. You're welcome to help yourself to use those at any point that you'd like. We even have bathrooms outside the classroom. There's bathrooms if you go out to the parking lot. There's signs that'll take you around to the main temple bathrooms. And we even have refreshments and snacks and things over here that is provided by our students. You're welcome to help yourself to water or anything that's over there. I see a bunch of stuff over there. Students bring stuff in, and you guys are welcome to enjoy that. After class today, because it's our grand opening, we actually have some cheesecakes and carrot cakes and things like this that we're going to be sharing with all of you guys, and it's all vegan. So for those of you guys that are vegan, you can eat this stuff. And those of you guys that aren't vegan, if I didn't tell you that it was vegan, you would never know, because it's really delicious. It's really, really good. So if you guys would like to stick around to the end of class today, we have some carrot cake and some cheesecake for you guys. So normally what I'm doing here is on Sunday, Wednesday, and Saturdays, we have our regular classes. We have 2 programs. One is called our group learning program, and one is called our Pali Canon and English study group. And what I do is I help students in the group learning program on Sundays and Wednesdays to go through this book, Developing a Life Practice, The Path That Leads to Enlightenment. Each Sunday, I do a talk on an individual chapter that's in this book. And over a 7-month period, students are gradually learning the path to enlightenment. And you can join here at the temple, or you can join online because we live stream all of our classes. And then we have the Pali Canon and English study group, where we have 13 volumes of books. So volumes 2 through 13, we go through all of those books in more like a study group group fashion. So the group learning program kind of lays down a foundation for you to understand what the path to enlightenment is, kind of building a framework. And then the Pali Canon and English study group on Saturdays kind of fills that in for you. And then we have various courses and retreats throughout the month that you guys are welcome to join. We have one coming up next week, Monday through Friday, which is our Foundation in the Path to Enlightenment course. It's 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And this is available for you at no cost. You can actually attend. And this Saturday, we have a course called the Introduction to the Teachings of the Buddha, which is just a 3-hour course, which helps you to be able to just get introduced to the teachings of the Buddha. This Friday, we have something called Temple Game Night. We have a social event where people come together, we play board games, we have food, we have conversation. It's a great time to come together. That's at 6 p.m. All these things, we have many different events here. They're on our bulletin board over there that you can see what we have available on our calendar. And they're also on our website. We have a calendar on our website that you can see all the different events that we're doing. And we live stream pretty much 99.9% of everything we're doing. We don't live stream game night, but we live stream all the courses and classes and all that stuff. And we were not going to be able to live stream the eating of the carrot cake and the cheesecake and all that too. Sorry for you guys online. But when technology advances and we can give you guys some cheesecake, we'll do that. So this is what we do here is we help students to be able to learn and grow and develop on the path to enlightenment. It's your own journey to enlightenment. There's nothing about the teachings of the Buddha that is based in belief. You're learning, growing, and developing along the path, where a teacher is kind of like a tour guide, pointing out things for you that you need to be able to learn. And we have books, audiobooks, videos, podcasts. We have classes and courses and retreats. You can even get personal guidance, which all of this is available for you at no cost. And the teachings of the Buddha are a path that's guiding you to cultivate wisdom, so that by cultivating wisdom of the natural laws, you can gradually train your mind to get to this enlightened mental state where the mind's peaceful, calm, serene, and content with joy. It's a permanent mental state that you're experiencing in this life, that by the time you get to enlightenment, you won't be able to experience anger or sadness or frustration or guilt or shame or fear or stress or anxiety or any of these feelings ever again, because you've trained your mind to uproot the causes and conditions that are producing it. Oftentimes people think that it's other people that's causing you to be angry or frustrated or agitated, but it's actually your own mind that's causing this. And you can actually train your mind to eliminate the causes and conditions that are producing it so that you can experience the peace and the joy for the rest of your life. You'll notice that your mind is functioning optimally when your mind is enlightened, where it's focused, it's concentrated, you have clarity of mind, deep memory. Your personal and professional relationships will really be blossoming. These will be at ease. You won't have bitterness and harshness and hostility in your life anymore. And even the relationships around you, they're just all harmonious. You'll get to the point where you're not even in a bad mood anymore, that you've uprooted those causes and conditions. In a place like this, coming to a learning center like this is an important aspect of getting to that enlightened mental state. So what I'm going to do today is typically I will just open up to questions that students have on Wednesdays. We do meditation and I just open up to questions. But what I'm going to do today, because of our grand opening, is share with you guys what a temple is and why it's important for us to maintain our temples all throughout the world, and what a temple really does for you as an individual. As we go, I'm going to open up for questions at different times and give you guys an opportunity to ask questions. We're going to eventually get to a point where I'm going to be sharing a bunch of pictures with you guys and showing you some before and after pictures of what we've been doing here. I'm even going to show you the finances and the donations that we received and how I spent that money, so that you guys can be assured that the money that came in for the donations here, you can see exactly how I spent it on all the various things that we have here. So welcome again to all of you guys. And as you guys have questions, you're welcome to ask those here at the temple. If you guys could use the microphones in the white bowl, that'll help the people online to be able to hear you. All you need to do is come get a microphone and you can take it back to your seat and you press the gray button. You'll see the lights come on and you hold that up to your chin. We'll be able to hear you here at the temple, and they'll be able to hear you online. And for those of you guys online, if you would like to ask questions, you can put that into Facebook, YouTube, or Zoom in the comment section, and I'll be able to see that. And then those of you in Zoom, you can also electronically raise your hand, unmute your microphone, and then ask any and all questions that you like. So this is called Why is Temple Construction and Maintenance Important? But first, let's just talk about what a temple is. A temple is essentially a learning center. It's a community center. It's a community community-funded mental health network. That's what we've got here in Thailand and all throughout the world. We've got temples all over the world, which is a community-funded mental health network. That's what the teachings of the Buddha are. They're not rites and rituals and ceremonies and worship. And even if you've seen those things associated with the teachings of the Buddha, that's not what the Buddha actually taught. He taught you to train your mind. So all these things that we experience as human beings in the unenlightened state, like sadness and anger and depression and anxiety and even eating disorders, things like bipolar disorder, ADHD, ADD, all these different things that people are struggling with out in the world, these can all be improved and eliminated through training your mind through the teachings of the Buddha. That's what he shared with you, is a path of how to get to this peace and this joy. And a temple is a place to learn, grow, and develop and evolve into this better and better human being. That's what a temple's for. The way that I think about a temple is that it's the best place to learn, grow, develop, and become a better and better human being. It's like the womb of a woman. The womb of a woman is the very best place for an individual to grow into a better and better human being. And a temple is like that. And the way that this womb gets created is by all of us contributing to creating this womb. Then we have this womb to be able to come into and come out of at different times. Of course, there's ordained practitioners who live in that womb as an ordained practitioner. But for those of us that are household practitioners, we enter in and out of that womb each day. As we come to the temple, we learn, and then we go back to whatever we're doing in our household life. And just like a ordained practitioner, a household practitioner can get to enlightenment too. Everybody and anybody can get to enlightenment. It's not just ordained practitioners that can get to enlightenment, but those ordained practitioners and even people like me, even though I'm not ordained, we've kind of let go of our worldly life and pursuing any kind of career. And we've decided to dedicate 100% of our time to sharing the teachings of the Buddha to be able to help people get to this enlightened mental state. So we're living in that womb, and then we invite people to come join into that womb and grow and develop into this better and better human being. And this womb gets created by all of us. The best place to become a better and better human being, and the best place to develop this meaningful life for yourself. Because there's probably certain areas of your life that you feel really good about, but there's probably other parts of your life that you'd like to maybe improve. Maybe it's not going so well in some of your relationships, maybe with your parents or your brothers or sisters, or maybe your coworkers or your boss or your neighbors. Maybe you're having certain struggles and challenges in various parts of your life. This is just because the mind lacks wisdom of what it needs to be able to train the mind and have harmonious relationships. So a temple is a place that you're coming to learn that wisdom. It's not a place to worship or do rites or rituals and ceremonies, even though you might see people doing that from time to time. That's not what the Buddha actually taught. He taught that you come to a place like this to learn and grow and develop. And then you've got someone like me, like a tour guide, who's pointing out for you the things that you need to learn. And then we make this available to you at no cost, so that there's no barriers of financial obstacles in your way, that it's just your learning and growing and developing. It's your effort, your energy, your dedication. If you put that into it, then you'll be able to experience the results. So we've removed all the obstacles, that you don't have to pay for the books. You can download these for free. You can take them and go print them. You can get them here by just reimbursing us for the printing cost. Or if you have Amazon, you can order them on Amazon if your country has access to that. You can get the classes and the courses, the retreats, the personal guidance, and all these things are available to you at no cost. So it's this womb that you can enter into and exit out of and grow into becoming a better and better human being. So this is what a temple actually is. Who owns the temple? A temple doesn't belong to anyone, yet it belongs to everyone. There's nobody who actually owns this temple. This temple is over 500 years old. This building that we're in, it's over 50 years old. And once you guys see the pictures of what it looked like before this, you'll probably see that it wasn't really touched before this. It was kind of built and constructed, and nobody really did anything with it for probably about 50 years. And now we've updated it to make it look the way that it does. So this temple doesn't belong to anyone. This isn't my classroom. It doesn't belong to the abbot. It doesn't belong to anybody, but yet it belongs to all of us. So we apply effort and energy to take care of it. So while this temple doesn't belong to anybody, it's available for all of us. It's a community center that we all support. So all throughout the Thailand and all throughout the world, people have been supporting temples and temple construction so that we have this network, this self-funded, this community-funded mental health network to be able to be available for people to come learn and grow and develop. And as I mentioned, you can enter in and out of that as you like. So it's to our advantage to maintain these temples. It's a growing network of temples all throughout the world, and it's available for us. And it's also available for future generations too. So when we were updating this classroom, I wasn't just thinking about us and the people that were here. I was thinking about how can we make this place accessible for future generations? Because there were certain times when the construction people came to me and they said, hey, we can do it this way. And it's going to be a lot less expensive for you if you do it this way. And that's what we recommend you do. But we could do it this way. It's going to cost more. It's going to take longer. And when I looked at it, it's actually better to do it that way because there was certain problems with this building that they could have kind of just patched over and it would have been cheaper and quicker to be able to do it that way, but it would have left a problem behind for future generations. So what I decided to do is I opted on the side of let's take care of this space so that future generations don't have to deal with the problems that we encountered, that we can remedy that now, and then when they go to update it 50 years from now, they wouldn't have to have those issues prop up for them. So we would like to maintain temples not only for us, but for future generations as well, and keep that in mind as we're making decisions about the maintenance of temples. So people now and in the future are going to need learning centers and community centers, this community-funded mental health network, places to learn, grow, and develop and evolve into becoming a better and better human being. And there isn't just one person that owns a particular temple. This land was donated by a Thai person at some point. There was a Thai person who felt like, hey, these teachings of the Buddha were very impactful to me. They were helpful to me. Let me donate my land and let other people have access to these teachings by making a place available. And then Thai people over the course of 500 years came together and built all these different buildings. And now we've been entrusted with this space that the abbot of the temple a few years ago invited me to be able to take on this space and be able to use it to share the teachings of the Buddha with you guys. And now what we've done as a community is we've come together to maintain this space and make it nice so that us and future generations can enjoy and benefit from coming here to learn. But none of us actually own this classroom. This update, this refresh and refurbish that we did, it wasn't for me. It's not my classroom. It doesn't belong to me, but yet it belongs to all of us so that we can all take care of it. So nobody actually owns the temple. One of the questions that someone might ask is, why did you choose to refurbish the temple instead of feeding those who are less fortunate? Because as you guys are going to see, we spent almost $20,000 here to be able to update this, which is a very small amount of money. If you look at places like the USA, we would have never been able to do what we did here for $20,000. When I was in business in America, I had different offices that I had, and one time I got a quote because I was interested in moving a toilet from one location to another, and just moving the toilet was $20,000. And of course I didn't do it, but we not only updated this place, but we even moved a toilet while we were here for all of the money that we did. All the furnishings, all the carpets, everything you see here was less than $20,000. That's the labor, the supplies, the furniture, and everything. So we've spent a fair amount of money right here in Thailand. That money would go a long way. So someone might ask this question: why did you refurbish the temple instead of feeding the people who are less fortunate? Well, it's not possible to feed someone out of hunger. It's not possible. Someone who's in hunger, you can't feed them out of that. They need to be able to learn and grow and develop and learn how to acquire food for themselves. We can support this individual. We might decide, at different times, and I've decided to provide food to people who need those basic necessities in order to sustain their life. But I can't feed somebody out of hunger. I can't give them food, because if they're reliant on me and they're dependent on me to get their food, I can't feed 500 people indefinitely for the rest of my life. But I can feed them the teachings of the Buddha, which helps them to cultivate wisdom. And then by standing up on their own 2 feet, they can make wise decisions to be able to acquire food for themselves. So I can't feed people for $20,000 for the rest of their life, but I can feed them the teachings of the Buddha that are going to help them to gain wisdom of how to go out into the world, make wise decisions, and then acquire food for themselves. It's not possible to give resources to someone to lift them out of poverty, right? We can support people to a certain degree to get them back on their feet, but ultimately at some point that person's going to need to transition into making wise decisions that leads to them acquiring the resources that they need on their own, where we can maybe come in when somebody's really struggling and be able to help them to a certain degree. They're going to need to learn how to make wise decisions. And a place like this provides them the opportunity to do that. So while we haven't fed any food yet, we will at the end of class. We'll be feeding you guys some carrot cake and cheesecake. The way that I think about it is we're feeding people every single day. We're helping people to eat every single day through sharing the teachings of the Buddha. So if we think about the teachings of the Buddha as food, then what we've done here is we're feeding lots of hungry people, because lots of hungry people come here all the time. Like today, we have, I don't know, however many people here, 30 people or so. But typically this room on Sundays and Wednesdays, and when I'm teaching classes, it's full all the way to the back of the room. There's people that are spilling out into the hallway. I imagine some people didn't think we were teaching today because of New Year's, or maybe some people were partying last night and they decided not to come to today's class for whatever reason. Maybe none of you guys decided to go out and party last night. That's why you guys are here. But nonetheless, this room over the next however many years that it's going to be available for people, I'd imagine for at least the next 50 years, this update is going to be available for people. We're going to feed thousands and thousands and thousands of people, maybe even hundreds of thousands and millions of people are going to pass through those doors, and they're going to learn about the teachings of the Buddha. And if we think about the teachings of the Buddha as the food that an individual needs in order to come out of hunger, where they're maybe hungry for wisdom to be able to make wise decisions in their life, then by us updating this room and making it a more comfortable place for people to learn, we're feeding thousands and thousands and tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of people over the next 50 years or so. So the way I look at it is I am feeding the less fortunate. I am providing resources to the less fortunate. And one of those ways to do that is to provide a space like this where people can come and be comfortable to sit and learn and grow and focus on learning the teachings of the Buddha. So the teachings of the Buddha are the food, the way that I see it. And the resources that we share with them to learn the teachings of the Buddha are the resources that we're sharing. And by people being able to come to a temple like this and having well-maintained temples, we're providing the hungry the opportunity to be fed and lift themselves out of poverty. Because, if I put prices on the courses and if I put prices on the things that I did, it would immediately have those disadvantaged individuals not be able to take advantage of the learning opportunities that we have here. But by me doing this for free at no cost and just allowing people to donate if they would like to, it's up to them without any expectation of that, then people can take advantage of being able to learn and grow and develop without having the obstacle of financial burden to be able to come and learn at a place like this. So we have had many donors over the years that have supported the work that I'm doing. And there's been a small group of donors who came together to be able to fund what you see here with up to almost $20,000 to be able to refurbish this place. And I'm very appreciative of anybody who practices any kind of generosity. And not only do we have financial donors, but we had many people who donated time and effort and energy to help us move things from here up to our temporary classroom and from our temporary classroom down to here. And we had people coming to clean and donate supplies and different things like this. So there was a lot of generosity that went into this. So while I see all the aesthetic beauty that we see here in this space, and yes, that's very beautiful. But when I look around and I see the carpets and I see the curtains and the wallpaper and the beautiful bathrooms, what I see is I see the beauty in the number of people that came together to support this place, both with their time, effort, energy, and their resources too. So while it's aesthetically beautiful, yes, and we're going to have a more aesthetically beautiful place to be able to meet and share the teachings of the Buddha, what's really beautiful about this place is that hundreds of people came together to be able to create what we have here today. And that's the real beauty that I see in this place. And maybe you can see that beauty too. Okay, so we've been feeding many less fortunate people. We're going to continue to do that long into the future. So I'd like to share with you some words of the Buddha about this topic of giving and some things that he actually shared during his lifetime, because he has some excellent teachings. Of course, his teachings lead exactly where he said they do, to this enlightened mental state. And here's some words from the Buddha that he shares about giving. And what we've done here is we've actually given this gift, right? So this is titled, Gift of the Teachings is Superior Than Gifts of Material Things. Monks, there are these two kinds of gifts, a gift of material things and a gift of the teachings. Of these two kinds of gifts, this is supreme, a gift of the teachings. There are these two kinds of sharing of material things and sharing of the teachings. Of these two kinds of sharing, this is supreme, sharing of the teachings. There are these two kinds of assistance with material things and assistance with the teachings. Of these two kinds of assistance, this is supreme, assistance with the teachings. So what we're doing here is, yes, we've created a material place that is an object, right? But we're sharing the teachings. That's the best gift that we could ever give to anybody, is the gift of the teachings. So yeah, sometimes we might need to give people food, or yeah, sometimes we might need to give them some clothes or some water or some shelter or some other things like this. But if we're not also sharing the teachings, we're not actually fully supporting that person and helping them get up on their feet. And the Buddha is sharing that too, is that sharing the teachings is the very best thing you could ever do, right? So that's why I share the teachings, and that's why a place like this is so important to that. The Buddha taught something called the way of practice. This is kind of boiling his teachings down to 3 things that you can do on a daily basis in order to be able to help you get to enlightenment. He has very detailed teachings that you would need to learn in order to be able to get to enlightenment. There's a core central teaching called the Eightfold Path. There's other teachings that you need to be able to train your mind to get to this enlightened mental state. But one time when students asked him, well, what can we do on a daily basis? All these other teachings that you have, how can we boil it down, and what should we be focusing on day by day by day in order to get to enlightenment? The first thing he said is generosity, practicing the giving and sharing of more than is strictly required in any given situation without any expectation of anything in return. What this is doing for you is it's training your mind to let go. Because the cause of your anger and your sadness and your frustration and all these other discontent feelings is that the mind's holding on. It's clinging. It's wanting things to be permanent. And as long as your mind is holding on, if you get what you want, you get happy. But if you don't get what you want, you get sad or angry or frustrated or some other discontent feeling. So what you're doing on the path to enlightenment is you're training your mind to let go. So generosity helps you to do that. Because what we tend to do with the unenlightened mind when we're having all that craving, desire, attachment is we tend to be very selfish and we don't share with other people. And you need to be able to get to the point where you're willing to share and you find that joyful to be able to share with other people, your time, your effort, your energy, and your resources. And this will help to train your mind to let go. And then he talked about moral conduct, that this is something that you need to improve, the way you interact with other people. Because as long as you're bitter and harsh and hostile and aggressive with other people around you, other people are going to be that way with you. So if you would like to improve your relationships and improve your life, you're going to need to improve the way that you interact with people in your day-to-day life. Because with certain things that are in your mind, certain pollutions that the Buddha discovered, you'll find it very hard to be loving and kind and polite and respectful with everybody in your life and everybody that you interact with. But through training your mind, you can get to the point where you're kind and loving and respectful to everybody around you. And as you put that out, more and more, that's what's going to come back to you. So it's kind of like if you had a pipe that bursted and you have oil spilling all over the place, the first thing you do is you don't go clean up the spill that's on the floor. You go shut down the pipe so that the pipe's not continuing to spew oil all over the room. So when you're working to get to enlightenment, one of the first things you need to pay attention to is your moral conduct. And the Buddha teaches you wholesome moral conduct based on the natural laws of existence. And that's shutting down that pipe so that you don't have oil continuing to spew into the world. Because as long as you do that, it's going to pollute your relationships. Then the Buddha taught meditation. This is training your mind in a dedicated, active, purposeful training session to eliminate certain unwholesome qualities and cultivate certain wholesome qualities. So these are the 3 things that the Buddha taught to be doing on a daily basis, is be looking for ways to practice generosity. And there's been a lot of generosity that's been practiced here over the last several months and several years. We've been seeing a lot of people practicing generosity with their time, their effort, their energy, their resources. Then we're teaching moral conduct through the Eightfold Path path and all the teachings of the Buddha, and we're teaching meditation to help students to be able to learn this. And then we're even going deeper into the more deep teachings of the Buddha through our various courses and retreats as well. So this is what's called the way of practice. Here's some more teachings from the Buddha on this topic of support and kind of what we've been involved in here to be able to create this place. Is this titled Mutual Support Between Monks, Brahmin, and Householders. What a Brahmin is like a Hindu priest. During the lifetime of the Buddha, there were these Brahmins who were doing rites, rituals, ceremonies, and worship. The average person was taught that you can't improve your life. They were taught that you have to go to these Brahmin and they were going to perform rites or rituals and ceremonies for you, and you needed to pay them for that, and then you would go home and your life would get better. And the Buddha knew that this wasn't actually true, that it doesn't work, right? And it was these Brahmin who were born into a certain family that they were considered to be holy people. And the Buddha was like, hey, this isn't what actually works. What you need to do is train your own mind, and that's what's going to lead to a better life for you, is by training your own mind. So these Brahmin would sometimes come to the Buddha in order to learn from them. So they were kind of like students a little bit with the Buddha. So here the Buddha says, monks, Brahmins, and householders are very helpful to you. They provide you the requisites of robes, alms food, lodgings, and medicines in time of sickness. And you monks are very helpful to Brahmins and householders as you teach them the teachings that are good in the beginning, the middle, and the end, with the correct meaning and wording. And you proclaim the spiritual life in its fulfillment in complete purity. Thus, monks, this spiritual life is lived with mutual support for the purpose of crossing the flood and making a complete end of discontentedness. So this is what the Buddha taught during his lifetime, is that the teachers are sharing teachings with the students and helping them to learn and grow and develop into individuals that can get to the point where you're no longer experiencing anger and sadness and frustration and all these other discontent feelings. And then it's the students who are choosing to support the environment in which they're actually coming to learn in. So there's this mutual support, right? So the Buddha taught this all the way from the lifetime that he existed in, that he was teaching this generosity. And he didn't teach generosity in order to enrich himself, because he was actually a prince, a member of the royal family. And he was rich and very wealthy, but he left all that behind because he knew that that's not what led to his peacefulness and his joy. So he lived a life of homelessness, where he only accepted food, clothing, shelter, and medical care. But there was this mutual support that he put in place so that people who were learning the teachings the most deeply would kind of move away from their careers and things like that and enter into this life of homelessness, where they're willingly sharing the teachings without any expectation of anything in return. And then the students' lives are improving as they're getting more and more wisdom and improving the condition of their mind and the condition of their life. And then they might be interested in supporting the teachings to be able to come into the world. So that's what we've got here, is that there's been a number of students over the years that I've been teaching that have seen significant improvement to the condition of their mind and the condition of their life. And because of that, they're willing to support other people learning these teachings. So that's why we have experienced this update or this refresh of our space here, because students have said, hey, these teachings have been very impactful to me, and I would like to see them be available for other people. Because when we first moved in here, this place was deteriorating. And, slowly but surely, students said, hey, let me buy you a projector. I would like you to have a projector. Or, hey, let me buy some air conditioning. Or, hey, let me buy a carpet or two. Or let me buy a microphone and some speakers and a fan. And slowly but surely, students have helped to be able to create the environment that you're now in. And this is because those individuals experienced significant benefit with learning and practicing the teachings of the Buddha, and they were interested in making them available for other people. And the Buddha taught this all the way back during his lifetime. And then here's one last one from the Buddha, where I typically share this because it was very impactful for me when I first learned it, and maybe it will be for you as well. It's titled, If Beings Knew the Results of Giving and Sharing. Monks, if beings knew, as I know, the results of giving and sharing, they would not eat without having given, nor would the stain of selfishness obsess them and take root in their minds. Even if it were their last bite, their last mouthful, they would not eat without having shared it, if there were someone to share it with. But because beings do not know, as I know, the results of giving and sharing, they eat without having given, and the stain of selfishness obsesses them and takes root in their minds. right? So what the Buddha is talking about here when he says, if beings knew the results of giving and sharing as I know, then they would not eat without having shared it, is he's saying the mental state of enlightenment. If you understood how peaceful and how joyful the enlightened mental state is, and that it's generosity, one of the things that's going to help lead you to that mental state, you would not eat without having shared it if there was someone to share it with, even if it was your last bite, your last mouthful. But because beings do not know, as I know, the results of giving and sharing, they eat without having shared it. That's what he's saying. So if you understood how peaceful and joyful that mental state is, you would be willing to share even your last bite or your last mouthful. Okay, so this is what the Buddha is talking about here. Okay, so now someone might ask me, well, now that we've improved this place, what do we do next, right? What are we going to do next? Well, I think the best way to honor and respect the work that's gone in here is just to teach. Teach, teach, teach. Learn, learn, learn. That's the best way to honor and respect what's happened here. And that's why we started off with meditation and doing some teachings. We have a whole string of teachings and classes and courses for you guys to learn, reflecting on those teachings to independently verify them so you can see the wisdom in them. Then you can practice the teachings and get the results. That's the best way and the best thing that we can do now going forward. With determination, dedication, and diligence to learning and growing and developing, that's what it's all about. So while we're in this much more beautifully aesthetically pleasing place to learn and grow and develop, we still need to focus on the learning. That's what it's all about, is the learning and the growing, right? So that's the best way to respect the hard work that's gone in here, is to diligently learn and grow and develop on the path, so that also we can maintain the temples, right? From this point forward, we're going to need to maintain this because this place is impermanent. This place is going to deteriorate too. Just like what we saw previously, this place is going to deteriorate too. We know that it's impermanent, but maybe we can make it less impermanent by maintaining it as best we can, not only here, but other temples as well, so that we can continue to serve and feed the hungry now and long into the future. So as people come here and they're hungry, meaning they would like to eat, they would like to enjoy the teachings of the Buddha, they would like to learn them and grow and develop, then we're here to be able to feed them, right? So that they can get access to the resources that they need. So all beings can experience this improved and better way of life if they're learning and growing and developing along the path. So I'm going to pause here and see what questions you guys have before I start showing you guys a bunch of pictures of before and after, and we open up the carrot cake and cheesecake and all that stuff. Do you guys have any questions on anything that I've shared? No? Okay. I don't see any questions online either. So, okay. So, continuing from here forward, we've decided to start scheduling some cleanup days where, as part of the effort here, we have been cleaning here, we've been cleaning outside, and we're like, hey, this is something that we could be doing regularly to help not just our classroom, but the wider temple community, is that maybe once every 3 months, we could get together and sweep some leaves and do a little bit of cleaning up here and there. So we've scheduled these every 3 months, where we're going to be able to come together on a Sunday at 11 p.m. and be able to clean up the temple, not just our classroom, because we usually clean this up about once a week, but even the temple at large, in the parking lot and the other buildings and stuff like that, there's a lot of maintenance that can be done here. And I see the monks and other people kind of struggling oftentimes to be able to do these things because it's such a big complex and there's only a few people that live here. We have a big army of people that we can, step in and actually help in a big way. So if you guys would like to participate in this, once every 3 months, we're going to have this cleanup where we can come together and kind of clean up different parts of the temple. So feel free to contribute to that if you'd like to. This is the finances of what it costs to refurbish this classroom. These are the donations that we received. These were special donations just for the refurbishing of the the temple. This isn't the money that I receive on a monthly basis. On a monthly basis, students support me with food and clothing and shelter and medical care and things like this. And then I use some of that money for myself, and I use some of it for all the things that we have here to take care of, like toilet paper and paper towels and meditation cushions and all the different things that I do, gas to go back and forth from my home to here and stuff. But these were special donations just for the refurbishing of this space. There was about 6 to 8 people that came together and donated all these funds. You can see the US dollar equivalent there, and then you can see how I spent it. We started here upstairs because there was leaking from upstairs. There's 2 bathrooms upstairs, and this is why we were getting mold all throughout the down here. So what we started with is we started with waterproofing upstairs and putting new tiles upstairs in the upstairs bathrooms. So that was 7,000 baht for the labor. So about $200 for the labor to tile 2 bathrooms. And then, of course, we paid for the supplies for that too. And then these 4 payments here, this was for the general contractor to do all the different work that they needed to do. And we had 4 different payments that we had to pay. And then these were all the supplies that we had to pay in order to be able to bring the place to where it is today, including cleaning the air conditioning units, because there was sand and they were sanding and dust and all that kind of stuff. So we had to clean the air conditioning units, and we needed to have cleaners to come and clean the entire site, because this was a construction site just last week, right? And now it's not a construction site anymore. So this is how we spent all that money. You can see it here. And if anybody would like to see invoices or estimates or receipts or any of this stuff, you're welcome to come let me know, because I have all of that stuff on my computer, and you're welcome to see that. Yeah, we included that too. We included the cakes into this. So we had a little bit of extra money at the end, and I contributed 2,400 and 90 baht or 50 baht from the money that came in for the refurbishing. And then there was another student who contributed the other part of that. So the cakes were actually about 5,000 baht for the cakes and the stuff like that. So half of it came from the money that was donated for this, and the other half came from a student. And all these people that donated, none of them have said, hey, make sure people know who donated the money. They're all not interested in necessarily being known of who actually donated the money. And some of those people are here. Some of them are online joining us. And some of you guys might even know who those people are, but these people aren't really interested in other people knowing that they actually donated these funds. But we can just have a lot of appreciation and respect for them that they've done that for us, and the people that are going to enjoy this space over the next 50 years. Also, as part of our projects, I didn't let people know about this, but there was one particular donor who wasn't only interested in helping here, but they were also interested in helping the temple at large. And they had been here before. And when they came here, they saw that the wall outside was deteriorating. And this individual asked if they could donate extra money to help repair the wall. So I don't know if you guys noticed, but the wall's all white now, and it was like exposed bricks and had big holes in it and stuff like that. So we contributed money. It was like 50,000 baht. This individual was willing to donate 35,000 of that to fix the actual wall of the outside temple. So not only did we work on here, but we worked out there as well. So you can see how nice the wall looks now. It used to have big gouges in the wall and stuff like this. And this is me sending that 35,000 baht to the actual temple. Okay, so now a trip down memory lane. For those of you guys that haven't been here before, you can see what this place used to look like. This is the old bathroom. We had one kind of semi-working bathroom in the back of the room. This is what it used to look like. There was this platform, and when you were sitting on the toilet, your legs were kind of dangling. So you guys won't have that experience anymore. We demolished that entire platform, and now we've got the toilet right down on the main floor. And you can see how it looks here with the chandelier and the nice, beautiful things that we've got. Just really beautiful place, right? Like really nice bathroom. You don't feel so dirty when you go into the bathroom anymore. Right? And by enclosing it with the windows, even the bathroom part of it, we don't get all that dust that we used to have. We used to have a lot of dust because being in the city, there's exhaust from the cars that would come in here, and we'd have dust, and used to cover the furniture because we had so much dust coming in. So that's what the first bathroom looks like. The second bathroom, we actually didn't use it. It actually used to be a storage room. There was a lot of storage stuff in there. It was like locked because it was so deteriorated. You can see what it looked like. And now this is what it looks like today. We even put a little shower in there with a little spigot as well. And then this is the other view of what that looks like. These chandeliers that I have, it was the same price as a fluorescent light. So we could have put a fluorescent light in there, or we could put these nice chandeliers. So I just put these nice chandeliers in there. I thought, hey, why not, right? Let's make it look really nice. Right. So here's what the ceiling used to look like with all the mold and the fluorescent lights. And then here's what it looks like now with the repair and the chandelier that we put in there. Okay, here's what one of the third room looked like before the construction. Now we've turned it into a storage room because we need storage. So you can see what that looks like with all of our supplies and stuff. Some students have asked me like, hey, what can I do to like help out, donating supplies and stuff. If you guys ever go into the storage room, you guys are welcome. Like I said, it's not my classroom. You guys can go in anywhere you like. If you see something in there you'd like to donate, just go and donate and put it on the shelf, or you can give it to me and I'll put it on the shelf. It's up to you. Some students would like to just kind of quietly and discreetly put stuff in there. Feel free to do that. This is your space. Like I said, it doesn't belong to me. So feel free to go in there. You can see the cleaning supplies that we have on the storage. And you're welcome to go in there and use those. We've got on one side, we've got inside equipment, because here in Thailand you've got certain equipment that you use inside to clean, and then on the other side of the storage room over here past this suitcase, you'll see some outside cleaning equipment where there's like brushes and brooms that we use outside, because outside the brooms get really dirty, and then if you use those inside it makes the inside dirty. So we have equipment that's for inside and for outside, and you'll see that kind of marked on the handle of the equipment that we have inside brooms and outside brooms and stuff like that. Okay, so here's our storage room, some more there. Here's the office. This was actually our old storage room. We used to use this room for the storage here. And then now we've turned it into a little office so that when students come, if there's like some big event going on here and there's students maybe playing a game night or something, and some students says, hey, David, I really need to talk with you. Can you sit down with me and have a discussion? Now we've got a quiet place that we can go sit on the sofa and be comfortable, and I can help students. So we've got that place there as well. This is what the main hall used to look like. We used to have this big, huge bookshelf that was scratching up the floor, and it was taking up the space. It was blocking the wall. We couldn't even get into some of the doors. So we kind of demolished that, and we took that out. And we now have this much more beautifully aesthetic, pleasing hall. We've refinished the floors. You can see the difference in the colors here. We went with the semi-gloss rather than a high gloss. So we went with kind of like a semi-gloss rather than a really high gloss, but it still is pretty shiny. Here's the teaching area where I sit. Here's what it used to look like. I used to have to drape it with cloths because of the dust and the dirt and the exhaust. And now I don't need to do that anymore. It just kind of looks nice like this. Okay. And then here's the back of the room, what the back of the room looks like. And then we've got what I refer to as the wall of honor and respect. This is where the Buddha and the King number 9 have over there as inspirations. And now you can see how that looks. So this is our memory lane. Okay. And now, to honor and respect the workers who did all this work, there's lots of people in and out of here. The Thai people, of course, and people from Myanmar and places like that were also here to be able to help us. The general contractor hired. They did some amazing work to work on this. They actually projected that it was going to take them 2 days to demolish the bathrooms and be able to start retiling. It took them over a week to go in and actually demolish that. And they didn't charge us anything extra. They used jackhammers and drills and stuff like that to demolish all of this stuff. You can see some of the pictures of them here doing all this work. Some just amazing craftspeople that came in and did this work. And there was no problems whatsoever. I didn't hear anybody complaining. Nobody was upset. Nobody was angry or frustrated with each other. They just came in and did their work and made it happen. Okay. many trips to the store. This is actually the general contractor. I would go to the stores, I would buy all the stuff and have a big invoice, and I would pay for it, and then he would come like the next day with his truck and he would load it up and then he would bring it here. Or sometimes the store themselves would actually deliver it for us. So there were many trips to the store to buy all the different things that we have here. And my son even came with me a lot of times to be able to pick things out and pick the different things that we needed. Okay, so just to kind of end things off, thank you all for coming. Thank you all for your support and everything that we do here. I appreciate everything you do to be able to help us accomplish what we accomplish. We're going to spend the rest of today, however long you guys would like, just enjoying our time with each other. As I mentioned, outside we've got carrot cakes and cheesecakes. We're going to have some, we have some water, and we have see some orange juice, and some club soda has come in. We've got some plates and forks and spoons and cups underneath that cabinet there. We've got a big water jug inside the storage room that we can take outside, and we just have a nice little party outside and inside, and just spend some time with each other. So thank you all for being here, and perhaps we'll see you guys in a future class. Okay, be well. Have a lovely rest of your day. Sawadee khap. Sawadee khap. Bye bye, everyone online.